started, I just want to introduce one of the folks up here on the panel, and then I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce the rest of the folks. I do want to welcome you to our event, the Executive Mentor Program putting us on, and I do want to recognize any of our mentors that are here. Are there any mentors? Do you want to raise your hand? All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you for what you do with our students. And then mentees, any of the students that are participating in the program. All right, excellent. Thank you. Again, thank you for participating. And thank you, Sherry, for putting this all together. I appreciate that, and for our guests who come. I'm going to be introducing Dr. Kristie Abston, who's at the far end of the table there. Dr. Kristie Abston worked in human resources starting in 1997, and she was certified in the year 2000 in human resource management. In 2009, she earned her PhD in business administration from the University of Tennessee, and we were pleased that she came here to join us in 2012 to teach. She teaches organizational behavior organizations, human resource management, compensation and benefits, performance management, recruitment, and selection. I asked her for a few highlights of things that she was very proud of in the last couple of years, and it just kind of shows her heart with the things that she sent. It said that she had a team of 5 students that was able to win the Small Business Institute Project of the Year. She cares about her students, and she was excited about that project. She had another team of 3 students that won the Society for Human Resource Management undergraduate student case competition for the East region against 14 other schools like Indiana University, Penn State, and the University of Tennessee, her alma mater. She also had an article published in the Journal of Management, a very, very prestigious journal. Number 1 in applied psychology, number 3 in business, number 4 in management. A tremendous journal publication for her. But she's passionate about her teaching, about her students, and about teaching other people about human resource management. So I'm privileged to have her on staff and to call her a colleague of ours teaching here with us. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kristie Asst. Let's give her a round.
Thank you, Dr. Bostel, and thank you all for coming to this amazing opportunity as I see it. I hope that you'll enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed preparing for this event. So it is now my honor to introduce the panel. And we'll start right here. This is Marty Tutchtone, who is the Human Resource Director for Gulf Power. She is responsible for human resource delivery, talent management, training and development, organizational effectiveness, diversity and inclusion, employee relations, labor relations, disability management, and wellness functions. Marty graduated from the University of Alabama with a Bachelor of Science degree in Commerce and Business Administration with a minor in German. She holds the Senior Professional in Human Resource Certification, or the SPHR as we in the field call it. And we'll save our applause for the end if that's okay. Next to her is Denise McLeod. Denise is now in her 40th year with Landrum. Denise is the Vice President of Human Resources and Staffing and also serves as a member of the Board of Directors for Landrum Companies. She is responsible for strategic planning and direction of Landrum's staffing services, as well as human resources, client services, benefits, and unemployment administration for Landrum Professional Employer Services. Denise attended the University of West Florida, go Argos, and she graduated from the University of Southern Mississippi with a BS in Business Administration with an emphasis in human resources. She holds 2 HRM certifications, the Senior Professional in Human Resources and the SHRM Senior Certified Professional, or the SHRM SCP. And then finally, we have Michelle Scaglione, who is the Vice President of Employee Services for Navy Federal Credit Union. Michelle is responsible for areas including talent acquisition and management, employment relationships, employment and labor law compliance, and employment services. Michelle holds an undergraduate degree in organizational communications and leadership from George Mason University, and a Master of Science degree in management from Marymount University. Please help me welcome these fantastic leaders. So our first question is going to be to have them tell us a little bit more about their organizations, because I didn't want to go into all of that. There's a lot to it. They represent the top and biggest employers in our region. So let's start with Denise, and the question is, please describe your organization, including its history, the business itself, the number of new positions that you fill each year,
Glad to do it, and thank you for having us here today. It's very encouraging to all of us to see so many of you here, so thank you. Landrum Human Resources was started a very short 45 years ago by Brett Landrum here in Pensacola, and he literally started it on a wing and a prayer and $5,000 of savings that he had. But he started it with a very important purpose, and it's the same purpose that we have today. That's to find meaningful work for people, to find good employees for clients, for companies. When I started with the company, and yes, I was fresh out of college, that was decades ago, I realize that, but there were only 9 staff members, and he really had strictly a traditional personnel placement agency. I came aboard because he started a second line of business, a very traditional temporary help service. Fast forward to today, Landrum has grown to be a highly respected leader in the HR field, not only here locally, but across the nation. And we have 3 major divisions within our organization now. We have the Staffing and Recruitment Division, the PEO, or Professional Employer Organization Division, and our Consulting Division. We have 177 staff members with multiple locations. Our corporate office is located here in Pensacola, but we have satellite offices in Fort Walton Beach, Panama City, Asheville, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, and we are very hopeful that we will soon have another satellite in the Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota area. Through these entities, we employ more than 20,000 people. Those folks are spread over 44 states, and we provide HR services to more than 1,800 customers or companies. In 2015, our sales revenue topped $580 million. Within our organization, we fill between 15 to 20 positions annually, and those range anywhere from entry-level positions to executive-level positions. Yeah, I have to say that Landrum Human Resources is the perfect example of what can happen when somebody has an idea, one individual has an idea and a dream, and they believe in it, and they decide to go forward and take the chance to make that dream happen for all the right reasons. It wasn't easy, and it did not happen overnight, obviously, but Mr. Landrum's vision was crystal clear what he wanted to accomplish, and he hired individuals to help him. He hired folks who had an all-in attitude and really treated it as if it was their business as well. As he's always told us, and we live by this today, he is not interested in being the biggest. He's interested in us being the best at what we do. And his motto is very simple, just do the right thing. And I can tell you that if a week does not go by that we don't have conversations about some issue that we're dealing with, and someone in the group will say, remember, we just need to do the right thing. Our culture is that of respect and responsibility and team. We honor the legacy that Mr. Landrum started so many years ago, but we welcome the new. And we're going through a lot of changes as we welcome that new. Our business isn't easy, and it's not one for someone who gets easily discouraged or gives up. We live in the human resources environment, particularly for those of you who are planning on going into human resources, and it is an ever-changing world of legislation and rules and regulations. It can be fairly turbulent around people management, and we constantly have legal obstacles that we have to overcome. But that's exactly why we value team, because it's the team that brings so much individual and group energy to be able to win. I mean, that's what it boils down to, and to be able to enjoy what we do. So that's what Human Resources is all about.
Thank you, Denise. Okay, Michelle, would you mind answering the same question? Your name and federalist history, the business itself, the number of new positions you feel each year, and the culture.
Sure, yes, thank you. Well, Navy Federal Credit Union was started in 1933, so 83 years ago. And similar to Landrum, was started by 7 Department of the Navy individuals who wanted to form a credit union to be able to serve each other. So these 7 individuals started the credit union with their pooled savings. At that time, it was $450. And if you fast forward to 2016, we now have over 15,000 employees across 300 locations worldwide. And we serve over 6 million members. And our field of membership is the Department of Defense. So we serve all of the military services and the DoD civilians and their family members. And I think the secret to our success has been a culture of service. And we call it sort of our secret sauce, that culture of service, and that belief that what we do is we serve our members, we serve those who are serving the country. And it's something that we feel very proud of, and we feel very honored to do. And we take it really serious. And when we talk about service, it's not only serving those 6 million members, but it's also serving each other. Denise mentioned doing the right thing, and you're going to hear some similarities, I'm certain. But we believe that we need to do the right thing for our members and for each other, and we really try to live by that, each day. Navy Federal organization-wide, so to give a little perspective, our headquarters is in Vienna, Virginia, so that's about 12 miles outside of Washington, D.C. We started our operation here in Pensacola just 15 years ago, and all our plans were for Pensacola is to open up one building with 400 people, and we were going to hire contact center agents, and they were going to serve for business continuity purposes, so that in Vienna, when it snowed, and if people couldn't get into work, we could transfer our phone calls down to Pensacola. We just planned for that one building, 400 employees, but when we got here, when Navy Federal got to Pensacola, not only was the city, the county, but the state so welcoming and just provided such a great opportunity for our business to grow. And the talent pool here, the qualified individuals here who were looking for positions allowed us to grow to the size that we are now. We now have 5 buildings on that campus. The 6th one will be finished next month. We've got 5,300 employees on the campus here in Pensacola alone, and we're planning to grow to 10,000 in the next few, really 3-4 years. Annually, Navy Federal hires 2,500. This year will be about 2,500 employees year to date. Here in Pensacola alone, we've hired 850 new employees from locally from the region, and then brought other people from out of state and Central Florida to Pensacola, to our wonderful area, Pensacola. We're hoping to hit the 1,000 mark by the end of the year, that we'll have 1,000 new employees on board by the end of the year. I could talk forever today about Navy Federal. I've been there for 24 years. I believe in Navy Federal not only as a member, but also as an employee, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about the organization and hopefully share some information that may be of interest as you consider your career paths when finishing school. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, Marty, let's hear from you on the same topics. Let's hear about Gulf Power's history, the business itself, the number of new positions you fill each year, and the culture.
Gulf Power, very similar to the Landrum and Navy Federal. Our firm belief is that we are here to serve the communities that we live and work in. We provide energy, and hopefully it allows organizations to function, communities to function, and to thrive. So that's our big mission. And one thing we believe in is the customer is the center of everything we do. So whatever we're doing, whatever we're talking about, whether it be business strategy or human resources from my perspective, we're constantly thinking about how does it impact our customers. We started in Chipley, Florida, over 90 years ago, so we've been around for a little bit. We are part of a larger entity, so our parent company is called Southern Company, headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. And we are one of the sister companies to many companies that Southern Company owns. We serve 8 counties within the Northwest Florida territory, from the Alabama line all the way a little bit past Pensacola, not Pensacola, but Panama City. And we have around 1,600 miles of transmission lines. So does anybody know what transmission lines are? You know what they're on? That's very unusual. They're the big lines that you see. So the big tower, the huge towers you see that carry the wires. Those are transmission lines. And the distribution lines are the ones that carry the power to your home. We have about 7,700 miles of distribution lines that provide power to businesses and homes in our communities. We have a total of around 450,000 customers that we serve day to day. And we're very proud to serve them and be a part of their community and their lives. We, from a hiring perspective, we hire around 150 people a year. Now, that is not necessarily all external hiring. Most of our hiring is done internally, so we focus on employee development, talent management within our company, and try to give our employees opportunities to bid on positions to begin with. But we hire around, I would say, 60 per year from an external source, and they're mostly entry-level positions. And the one thing that we love about our company, one thing that we love to talk about our company, is that we consider ourselves as having a family atmosphere. So most of the individuals that I work with day in and day out, and have that privilege of doing day in and day out, have been with the company for over 25 years. We have, our average age is around 46, 47, and most of those individuals grew up together. They went to high school together. They go to church together. Their children have played t-ball together. And so let's just say we've known each other for a very, very long time. So we bring that in, and we consider each other family when we walk in the door, and we take care of our family. So that's the culture we live in, and it's a wonderful culture from the employee standpoint. Did I answer everything?
You sure did, and these sound like 3 great places to work, don't they?
Yes.
All right, so my first question now is going to be kind of a soapbox issue for me as a faculty member, but I think it's an interesting question from a management perspective in general. And so I'll start with you, Marty, but Denise and Michelle, feel free to chime in. Building on the idea that Gulf Power is all about serving the customer, reliability and consistency being huge there, because when your power goes out, are you a happy customer? Probably not. Please explain Gulf Power's expectations regarding punctuality, time management, meeting deadlines, etc.
And actually, I'm glad that you started that the way that you did. So what we talk about when we are at work is what happens when you flip that light switch. And we realize that most of our customers don't even realize what goes on behind the scenes when you flip that light switch. There's a lot of work behind it. And if our people aren't there to generate the power, and our lines are not working appropriately, and say we do have a power outage, our customers are not going to be happy with waiting, hours. They're looking for minutes. So the importance of being on time are one of our key philosophies in being present in the moment. So when I was originally out of college, probably about a year out of college, one of my first experiences was with one of our VPs, and he was an engineer by trade. And I walked in the door, I was going to his staff meeting, and I walked in the door, and the meeting was from 8 to 5 on my calendar. I walked in at 8 o'clock. I walked in, and he looked at me and said, "Marty, you're late." I thought, well, maybe my calendar was wrong. So after the meeting was over, he pulled me to the side, and he said, "Marty, if you are 10 minutes early, you're late. Because when I say my meeting started at 8 o'clock, that means we start working at 8. You're not walking in the door at 8. And it was a valuable lesson for me to learn early on in my career, and I was very fortunate that I had an individual that was willing to stop and give me that difficult feedback. And it's stayed with me throughout my entire career. we are constantly looking for people that we can depend on to be in to work day in, day out, no matter if it's raining, if it's snowing, if there's ice on the road. Now, we're very concerned about safety. We're a safety-oriented culture. And so we want to make sure our employees are safe, but we make contingencies plans with that as well. Because our customers depend on us to be there no matter what. And so when we talk about dependability, and we talk about time management and getting to work on time, it's of extreme importance, no matter if you're a lineman or if you're one of our customer care center representatives who's answering the phone when someone needs a payment arrangement or someone has to report lights being out. So from our perspective, time management is probably, that gets you in the door and that keeps you there. Because if you're not dependable, you won't be there for very long.
Well, I'd like to add that for us, we are looking for people that can follow instructions. That speaks to your comprehension skills and your attention to detail, which is a requirement in the type of work that we do. You have to realize that when you employ people, there's way more to it, just like you were talking about when you flip the switch, than just hiring someone. You've got somebody's life in your hands. People are trying to pay their mortgage, pay their bills, plan for their families. They may have medical issues that are requiring a great burden, puts a great burden on them. People that have lost everything and need a new start, they're depending on getting their paycheck on time. They're depending on it to be right. They're depending on the benefits that we have for them that they've signed up for, so that when they go to the doctor with their sick child, there's not a question about that insurance being valid. All of that, you have to think about all of those aspects that you're holding in your hand when you're in human resources. We all live that every day. But for us, we look for people who can connect the dots. We find it's very easy to spot those that know how to connect the dots without asking someone else to walk them through every single step of the way. It's also important for us to have employees who understand the why of the task at hand and why they are doing what they're doing, and who also understand the implications that that task is completed accurately. I'll give you just a real quick, for instance, we had a situation in another state, and by virtue of some technology and some changes in insurance and so forth, we had a family whose insurance was changed. They were notified, they didn't really understand it. As it turned out, they had a child who had a very rare medical condition, and the new insurance didn't cover it. Somebody needed to come to their rescue, and it was us. Our benefits team went into action. Now you can imagine working with the bureaucracy of a giant insurance company, but the fact was we couldn't take no for an answer. Somebody's life is at stake there. So it's those kind of things that you're going to deal with all the time, and that's why you have to pay attention to the details. You have to be timely. You have to understand why it's so important. We live in this heavy compliance society, particularly in HR. So following instructions really equates to dollars. And another simple example, anytime you go to apply for a job, you are required to fill out an I-9 form. Sounds pretty simple, you would think. But the compliance side of that single I-9 form for an employer is nasty. If you have one strike through on that form, the form is invalid. That's an error. Start all over again. Long story short, the fines for having paperwork errors range anywhere from a low of $178 per error. You can have 5 on one form if somebody's not paying attention, all the way up to jail time and $21,000 for obviously criminal activity. But it's attention to detail. Please understand that once you are actually in your career, more than likely that learning is not going to be in a classroom setting like this. It's going to be at your place of employment and also opportunities that you seek out for continuous learning. The bottom line is practice now following instructions. Practice now being on time. And practice now getting rid of the easy button and tackling those hard things. And I'm telling you, it will make your life so much easier and enjoyable as you enter your career.
And I think I'll just probably put a final point. I could reiterate a lot of what's already been said, but when it comes to dependability, going to work and being on time, I guess the point that I'll put on it is that is the second most common reason that employees are released at Navy Federal, because of attendance. And it always surprises me because I feel like that's the one thing I have control over, is when I go to work and if I get there on time. And so it surprises me that people do compromise their positions over attendance. Again, it's something that's really easy. Now, at Navy Federal, and probably like the others, we believe in work-life balance, and we believe in flexibility. And while some of our positions, we do have people that they're relying on you to get there because that means someone else goes home after 8 or 9 hours of work. There's a lot of positions that can offer some flexibility, and we encourage employees to talk with their leaders about it. If you're hired for an 8 to 4:30 shift, but really 8:15 works better because you've got commitments in the morning, a lot of those things can be accommodated. But what happens sometimes is people just sort of roll in and, and don't make those pre-arrangements. And so I would just encourage that when you find yourself in a position that the schedule is kind of tight for you, really, try to renegotiate some of those terms so that it can help you be successful. Because that's what we want as employers. I mean, we've made an investment when we're selecting individuals and training individuals, and we've made that investment. We just want that same investment back and that same commitment. So.
Absolutely. And Michelle, we'll stay with you on this one. Let's talk about the job search, because many of these students are already engaged in searching for a job. Will you please share what your thoughts are on being aware of what you desire, your values, and that sort of thing, along with just basic research as students prepare for the job search?
One of the things that, and like I said, I've been with Navy Federal for 24 years, and it's not by accident. It's because I truly enjoy what I'm doing, and I truly believe in what I'm doing. And I think anytime you can go to work and you spend 8, 9, 10 hours, whatever the case may be at work, it should be enjoyable. And so I encourage people, look for organizations that you believe in what they're doing. You believe in their purpose and their mission and who they serve. Now many candidates are looking for purpose-driven organizations. What is the purpose that they serve? And, the internet provides just a great opportunity to do that research. Do the research on organizations as you're pursuing your careers. One thing as employers, what we know is that as candidates, you're really consumers of our brand, our employment brand. Because you can look at many employers, you can look at Glassdoor and see what actual employees and former employees are saying. And so we treat you as sort of customers or consumers of our brand, and we want to highlight what we have to offer, what we're about, so that you're well informed when you come in as you apply for positions. Pursue those that are really of interest to you. I was talking with a few people before we got started, and I shared, sometimes the mistake people make is they have one resume, and they use that one resume for multiple jobs. And really the key is look at your resume, look at the position you're applying for. One, make sure it's a position, obviously, that you're passionate about, that this is something that you want to do for 40 hours plus a week. But make sure that your resume really speaks to how you meet the requirements, how you've got the competencies of the position. In this day and age, here at Navy Federal, I know we receive 100,000 resumes a year, and our recruiters put eyes on every single one of those resumes. And it's about 30 seconds a resume. If your resume does not stand out and pop and and show how you meet the requirements of the position, you're not going to make it to the top. But I know the primary question is about what to look for. And again, I can't emphasize enough, look for organizations where you believe in what they do, and you truly believe in what their mission and their vision is. And I think that it'll be a more enjoyable experience. I've been in positions in other organizations where Sunday evening I was dreading going back to work on Monday for another 5 days. We spend too much time at work not to enjoy the work we're doing. So look for something that you really can get excited about.
Marty, you want to piggyback there?
Yeah, I do, actually. And I agree with everything Michelle just stated. I mean, you spend the majority of your time when you're awake with your, what we would call work family. So if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you don't enjoy the mission of the company, it's probably not going to be as successful as you would be. And one thing I would add to what Michelle had said is around yourself. Do the research on the companies to understand what the companies are about. But before you start that job search, really think about where your passion lies. What is your vision? Where do you see yourself in 10 or 15 years? You may not get the position, your dream position right off the bat, and just remember that. But have a plan of action of how to get those skills to get where you want to go. But I would highly encourage people to take the time to really think about where do I want to be? What do I want to do? What's important to me? Because I find when we have unsuccessful candidates come in, I mean, we've hired them, but it didn't work out. The relationship didn't work out. What I found on exit interviews is they really didn't take the time to think about what they wanted and who they are and what's important to them. So I'll give you an example. If you don't like being outside and you're terrified of heights, you may not want to be a lineman. And we've had that happen. But that's just one, very, very big example for me. But I would encourage you to really think about what you want to do and what makes you happy. Michelle also mentioned work-life balance. Work-life balance is important to Gold Power as well. But some of that has to be, you do have to work with your supervisors and your managers and have that conversation. Don't assume your manager knows what's going on with your life. So establishing those relationships, knowing where you want to go, what you want to do, and when you get into a company, be very candid with your supervisors about it in a respectful way. But let them know because your managers are there to help you guide or guide you in your careers. And one thing I would add to that is just remember you're the owner of it, and no one is going to sit there and tell you day in and day out, hey, you might want to go get this training because it'll help you to gain this skill set. For the most part, you probably won't get that. There is some guidance, but you're going to have to go out and do it, and you're going to have to go out and own that part of your career.
Thank you.
I just want to add one thing. Bravo. We are all in agreement of this. But I can tell you, we see hundreds of applicants annually come through Landrum. And the saddest thing that we see is an applicant that comes in desperate for a job who has been in a job that they hate for a long period of time. And they finally reach the breaking point, but they don't know what to do. Just like Marty said, you spend your waking hours with your teammates at work, and your life is way too short to spend it miserable. That's all there is to it. But
life is worth it. And you only have one life to live, so we're really good.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, next question. We'll start this on the end down there, Michelle, and Denise. What expectations do companies have regarding working with others? And y'all kind of touched on a little bit, teamwork, interpersonal skills, things of that kind.
I've mentioned a couple times how important service is at Navy Federal, and that's serving our members, but it's also serving each other. And that level of service really starts with building relationships, building strong relationships that are based on respect and trust, where open and honest communication can take place. And serving others also requires that we have a sincere interest in what someone else's needs are, and that we're willing to help wherever and whenever we can. And so that type of service and that type of relationship, it does require collaboration, it requires partnerships, it requires reaching out and really, as Marty was saying, getting to know the people that you work with. We all have our differences, and some people know that I'm an avid note taker and I'll take notes all the time, and other people, they won't take notes, and they'll always ask for a copy of your notes, and that's just the way we, these little intricacies about each other. But collaboration really is about building solid partnerships, and when you build those relationships early on, when you have a need, more than likely that person is going to come to your aid or your rescue. The time to build partnerships at work is not when you need somebody. It's not when you need something from somebody. It's really building it early on. And I'm sure that you are already honing these skills today. You're on project teams where you have to work with people who have different strengths, who may have weaknesses, and you're complementing each other. And it's really the same at work. People are relying on you, and you're relying on others. So it's important to be a good collaborative partner.
Agree with everything. Absolutely. Being able to work both independently and on a team is critical for the work that we do. And we seek out potential employees that have demonstrated that ability to do both. We would much rather have a staff member who understands the dynamics of being a part of a team, of a winning team, because we know that that person understands the importance of empathy and cooperation. They recognize and praise others before themselves. They have patience and understanding with others, and they understand the goals of the team as a whole. I was thinking about the projects too, and I'm sure every one of you have been on a study team where everybody's firing on all cylinders, and it feels good. I would be willing to bet. And you come out and you win. Your project is complete, and you were successful. But I bet you've also been in a study group or a team where you have one or two people who just don't pull their weight. That didn't feel as good, did it? I bet there was aggravation. I bet there was much time and energy spent on that problem rather than the goal, the absolute goal of the team. You see what I mean? It works in everything. There's at least one person in here that knows this to be true. I love football. And we do, two people. Yeah. And for me, and for some of us in our organization, there are endless similarities between a winning football team and a winning business team. You are not going to have a championship football team because you have a Heisman candidate on the team. That one person doesn't make the team. You're not going to have a winning football team because you've got 2 or 3 of the top recruits in the nation. It's not going to happen. But you're going to have a winning team when you have the right people in the right positions and respect each other and the talent of those other people, who have a relentless work ethic and who have a I have your back attitude. Because they will always have each other's back. And if you don't, you'll be benched. And a lot of times it won't be the it's really simple when you really think about it. It's very, very simple. It's not all about you. It's about the group. And when you find out how rewarding that is, there's no turning back for you. You will absolutely know that you're in the right spot. Same philosophy through any kind of business that you're in.
Okay, similarly, let's talk about new hire performance, because we've set them up for some of these things, but once they get on that job, they've got their dream job, let's help them to understand what expectations employers have for new hires regarding their performance, especially as it relates to being promoted. And I think all of you have good stories to tell about this sort of thing, but I don't know who wants to start. I think we have Denise plan. Go for it.
Don't get me started here. First and foremost, we are expecting, when you have accepted a position with us, that we're assuming that you're coming in with the idea that you're going to do the very best job you can in that position. And if you're coming in with a different agenda, that really will surface very quickly within the first few days. If you're coming in thinking, oh, let me just get my foot in the door, I'm really good at that job, you've got to get this job first. You've got to master it first. And that's kind of what we call shooting yourself in the foot. And it's very obvious to all around you. So your body language and your enthusiasm about that new position, or your lack of enthusiasm, sets the tone. And it's observed probably more by the people that are working with you than the people that you're working for, to tell you the truth. And frankly, when we see that happening, we're not going to invest any more time or resources in you if your head is not in the game. You want to be a friendly superstar. Show eagerness to learn, a willingness to dive into the hard situations, ask the difficult questions, and embrace the parts of your job that aren't so pleasant, just as you embrace the parts of your job that you enjoy. That, believe me, that will set you apart. It's critical that you challenge yourself to master those parts of your position that are hard for you. Be a good listener, and you'll appreciate this. Take notes. We observe on occasion when someone is being trained and they're not writing one thing down, they're just learning where the kitchen is and the bathroom are located. They certainly are not comprehending all of this technical information that is being given to them. So that's a surefire sign that maybe their head's not in the game if they're not taking notes. Study your notes. We're keying in on people who can solve problems or take a project from beginning to end 100%. Not 90% of the way or 95% of the way, but really their goal is 100%. And you want to be the one that's willing to take on the hard stuff. The one who steps up and volunteers for the hard stuff. To volunteer for community activities representing your company. Pay attention to those successful people in that organization and see what they do. Obviously, they did it right. They're doing what the company is looking for. It's a pretty simple thing to pay attention to that. We want positive energy, not negative energy. We want problem solvers, not problem makers. And I'm sure you've all experienced that in your work here. Let me just give you a quick example that just kind of speaks to it all. Our regional director of staffing and recruitment is a UWF grad. She graduated about 5 years ago. She started with us about 8 or 9 years ago as an HR assistant, learning our basic rules and regulations in the staffing environment and filling clerical job orders in a team of 4 people and going to UWF at the same time. Within about a 3-month period, she approached her supervisor and said that she felt like she could accomplish a lot more during the day. And would we be willing for her to learn other aspects of the job, which would then provide us more depth within the department? Winner, right there. And having the guts, first of all, to come forward and make that offer and clearly willing to come through. Well, over the next 2-year period, she maintained her current position, but during that time, she mastered our payroll system. She worked with our drug-free workplace, which included facilitating drug tests for our applicants coming in. She studied and learned all about FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, and developed a system of tracking for the staffing service. She studied the H-1B visa program and offered some possibilities of how we might integrate that into our operation. And she became our social media expert. She worked well with her peers, her subordinates, and her supervisors, and she always recognized others and was very gracious to others for the work that they had done. She never expected anything like that in return, though. She never once asked for a promotion or a raise. Never discussed money with us, but she didn't have to. In these 8 years, her salary has tripled. She's become the regional director of staffing and recruitment, and she is also a member of our key leadership team. These are the future leaders who will take over this business as those of us lead the business. She is a respected supervisor, and each day she demonstrates her passion for the work that we do. That's how you
Thank you. Michelle?
I think only two or three points I would make on that, and will reinforce what you said about being a superstar. Our chief operating officer, so he's the #2 guy in the company. He's been with Navy Federal for 42 years. He said he's always asked, how do I grow with Navy Federal? How do I succeed? What are the keys to success? And he says, I tell people every time, be a superstar in the job that you're in. Master it. Don't spend more of your time looking outside and then lose what you're doing here. So master the job that you're in. He said it's simple. That's all you have to do. And opportunities, and you will be recognized. And you'll pursue opportunities, but opportunities will come your way that you're not expecting. The other thing you mentioned, finding a role model. And I know many of you are in the mentor program. Find a mentor at work. There are leaders who would be very open and would appreciate the opportunity to be a mentor. I've served as a mentor at Navy Federal, and I think I probably get more than they get out of it. I mean, I learned so much from my mentees. And so if you see someone and you've admired their career or what they do, don't hesitate to ask if they might have some time once a month or once every few weeks for a cup of coffee or maybe lunch, just to help guide you. So mentoring is real important. And then the last little tip that I'll share, and this is going to date me, but there's a song. There might be a few people who remember it. It's called Love the One You're With. Okay? Well, I like to say, and I've heard it before, love the job you're with. If you're accepting a paycheck, and my dad taught me this, if you're going to accept a paycheck, give 100%. It may not be the job that you like. Work towards a job that you do like. He said, but until that time, love the job you're with. Give it 100%.
That's awesome. That's great. You want to chime in there?
Well, I totally agree with what Denise and Michelle said. And one thing you said earlier, Denise, was around taking notes. When you walk in the door, make sure you are taking notes with people and giving them instructions, and you're listening and you're learning, and you're not constantly having to go back to people and ask the same question. We find that quite often. But showing initiative, and y'all both talking about it, that's key. If your manager or your supervisor can see that you're really trying, and that you're willing to do more, they're going to be right there with you every step of the way. And not only that, know your current job and be a superstar in your current job, but get to in a completely different organization. But the way you find that out is to learn what each piece of the organization actually does, day in and day out, and how what you do day in and day out may impact what they do. So that's what I would add to that.
Fantastic, thank you. And so we're coming near the end of our period, and I want to just kind of give an open-ended question to each of our panelists to share whatever they had planned or what came about during this meeting. So as we prepare to close, what other advice about employer expectations would you like to share with all of these potential new hires? Just start back with you, Marty.
Okay. One thing I would say is I would go back to know who you are, what your passions are. Make sure you thoroughly research the companies that you're interested in, and see if your skill set or what your passion is aligns with that company. To me, that's critical. That's a critical first step that you have to do before you even think about applying for a position for yourself, for your own sake. It was mentioned earlier around dependability. When you do get that offer and you do start down the road of building your career, make sure you are dependable in every shape, form, or fashion, not just from a time perspective, but just as a teammate. Whatever task you're given, make sure you are being of value to the entire team. The other thing that was mentioned earlier was around master your current position. So when you get in, make sure you show that you can do the current position you're in before you even think about going to be the next VP. And I've actually had an example where we had an individual come in straight out of college that after about a year walked into my office one day and said, "I don't understand why I'm not a VP yet." Well, there's one reason for that, and it's because they were so focused on becoming a VP that they failed to do their current position, and management took notice. So just remember that when you walk out the door today. Remember to master your position, know what you want in life, what's important to you in life, and make sure you make sure that you have a very good fit.
Awesome. There is one disease that is deadly in the workplace, and it's called excusitis. It's easily cured and prevented. I'm sure you've all seen a lot of that. Once again, it will be your peers who will have it. Be fed up with that before anything, because somebody else will have to be taking up your slack. Please don't succumb to that. You control that solely. Please don't. The other thing is to be honest, to be straightforward. Don't dodge and weave in the workplace. Don't lead somebody to believe something that you know is inaccurate. Don't be guilty through omission. There was something that should have been shared that wasn't. Things like that. But this is pretty straightforward stuff, really. And don't get wound up in the drama. We see, the whole technology has been a challenge over the last few years. So don't get wound up in a Facebook fight. All of that can just cause you lots of problems. Just leave it at that. Something that Dr. Abston did want us to all mention, and that's the beauty of LinkedIn and how to effectively use the technology that's available to us today. And Michelle really has a much better story about that than I do. But we do want to get that out there. Your resume, your LinkedIn profile, anything that's out there, believe me, a lot of what you think is not available is available. That is a picture of you. It's a picture of your work. We look at resumes as the best example of your work that particularly noticeable to us when we note in the request, please only qualified applicants apply. And then we get these resumes that aren't even close. That tells us we probably don't want that person for anything else either. They did not pay attention. So easy things, just very easy things. You just have to think about it.
And Denise, can I add something? You mentioned something about excuses, and I had a CEO that used to keep business cards. And if you started giving him an excuse, he'd hand you this business card that you would keep. And it would say, excuses does not equal results. And so I totally agree with what you just said, because that's another life learning lesson that fortunately I never received one. I want to put that out there. But you're right, excuses do not equal results, which is what companies are looking for.
A piece of advice that I would offer is be a lifelong learner. Your time in school is short, really when you look back, but be a lifelong learner. While at Navy Federal, again, we get over 100,000 resumes coming in every year for positions. I mentioned that we've got 5,300 positions on our campus here in Pensacola. Sometimes people think it's all contact center. Oh, you work at the contact center on 9 Mile Road. Yes, we are a contact center. About 42% of that population is contact center, but we have got so many other careers on that campus. People don't realize. And so when we open up a contact center position, we can easily get 700 or 800 applications in 2 or 3 days. But for some of our other positions, like accountants, business analysts, our IT positions, we may not get as many applications. Our recruiters are going out to LinkedIn, and they're looking at resumes and reaching out to what we call passive candidates. Those candidates who they may not even be looking for a job, they may not even know about Navy Federal, but we reach out to them and say, hey, you've got the skills that we're looking for. Can we tell you a little bit about Navy Federal? And we've hired so many people through LinkedIn. So I can't encourage enough that if you're not out on LinkedIn, please consider it. And again, really consider a really nice, robust profile. It's important, and more organizations are using LinkedIn and other social media sites to find candidates.
Wow, fantastic free advice that you just got from these fabulous leaders. I think we have a few minutes for questions, maybe 2 or 3 questions that you might have for any of these folks. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you, since I'm sure earlier in your career you've probably done a lot of interviewing of candidates for jobs. Can you give these folks some do's and don'ts for that interview process? Just a couple of things that you observed.
That's amazing. First of all, dress appropriately for the interview. Know the environment that you're going into. Be on time. Be ahead of schedule. Remember that the person that you're to interview with, that's only that person. You're being interviewed by everybody in that office that sees you. The front desk receptionist can be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on how you treat them. Unfortunately, sometimes people's personalities change between the lobby and the interview room. Don't be that person. Make sure you have a professional email address and a professional message on your phone. Not, thank you for calling Hot Mama. I have that one. You think about those things because you're building the whole picture of you. The simple things that we've all learned, again, dating ourselves, know how to shake hands, know how to make eye contact, manners, basic manners, thank you, appreciate this. Thank you notes go a long way. I'm amazed at the very few thank you notes that we see, and that's not just now, that's always been like that. But if our advice is keep thank you notes with you, and And yes, why would we do a handwritten note? Why don't we do an email? Honestly, I know most people are going to open up a hand-addressed envelope quicker than they're going to open up a business envelope, and probably quicker than they may see your email. We get so much spam, all kinds of things that could prevent the email. But if you've taken the time to write that note back to that individual, I can guarantee you that they're going to take note. I know in our case, we take it back to the department and show them what this person did. It's so simple, such an easy way to make it known that you're serious, that you really want to go to work for the company.
I think the one thing I would add to that is it's okay to bring a notebook or a notepad, open it up, and sometimes interview questions are really long. I mean, there are several pieces and parts. It's okay to jot a couple of notes down. And I like to tell people, this is not about beat the clock. It's, how fast you can answer the question. It really is giving me an opportunity to know you and answer your question. So take your time. So if a question is asked, it's okay to sort of repeat it back. If I understand correctly, you'd like to know more about A, B, or C. Okay, fine. And it's okay if you think you may have veered off course in your answer to say, did I answer everything that you were looking for, or would you like me to expound on that? So just take your time during the interview. It really shows confidence, it shows poise, and it shows that you're real serious, and your answers are usually a little bit better when you really take your time and be thoughtful about it.
What I would add, and Michelle's correct, but one thing you do need to always think about and be cognizant of when you're going into interviews is being succinct and to the point. So if you ramble and ramble and ramble, that's very noticeable. And just keep in mind, you've got, with us, we do committees, we have interview committees. And so they spend whole days sitting there interviewing one person after another. So first advice would be to be succinct. To Denise's point, just know when you're walking through and say you meet our lobby, or a person sitting in our lobby, and if you're rude to her or you have an attitude issue with her, it does get filtered back. So know everyone that you meet when you're coming in the building and you're interacting with is making an impression on you. So I would agree with Denise on that. And when you're in an interview, if you've got multiple people in the room, do not just respond to the one person that may have been asking you the question or whoever you think the manager is. Because if you've got a committee together, they're all helping that manager make a decision, and you need to be talking to every single person sitting in the room and make eye contact. And the last thing I would say is review the job description before you walk in the door, and try to figure out what skill sets the company's looking for. If it's not clearly, surely it's clearly stated. Sometimes it's not. They're very keen on that. But when you review that description, think about specific examples that you have in your career or your life that may show how you have that skill set. Come prepared with examples before you walk in the door. I see candidates struggle quite often with getting in there, and we ask for examples quite often, and they're sitting there thinking, and they have to go, well, let's pass. Can I pass and go to the next question? So just know, more than likely, you're going to have to give examples of how your skill set matches. So come prepared, even if it's written in a portfolio or what have you. So those would be the 4 things I would say would be key from my perspective.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and have Dr. Bostwick come up and close us out, because Dr. Davis is out there waiting to come in his class. But I think I can confidently say y'all are going to entertain more one-on-one questions if anybody wants to meet outside the room and carry over. Thanks for being a great audience.
I got here, well, especially I would thank you again for each of our members of the panel here. So I want to give that to them, and let's do all together to give them a round of applause.
For the opportunity